My boys, my biggest boys. That's right, it's me, Dubledice. 2 years ago, I made videos like these showcasing the Soul Masterclass back in Season 1. Now, it's 2021, and Lost Ark is coming to the West, baby! So I am here to show you how to become the juiciest Lost Ark player of all time. This series is called Guides for Dummies, a way for me to help elevate new players or players in general to a better state of understanding within Lost Ark. In this video, we will be going over the Paladin class. What is the Paladin class? Well, to put it simply, they are a supportive style class that applies buffs to allies and debuffs to enemies. Their abilities are separated into two different groups, punishment skills and holy skills. Keep in mind, however, that these spell names and all spell names that I will be listing are subject to change for the NA and EU release. Punishment, or blue skills, are attacks that the Paladin performs with his sword, whereas holy or yellow skills are more or less ranged spells that the Paladin casts. Knowing the difference between these two groups is important because of the class specialization, or the class mechanic. Hitting enemies with any attacks builds your piety meter. This also passively generates while in combat. Once full, you can either activate Sacred Executioner or Holy Aura. Activating either will start to drain your piety meter. Activating Sacred Executioner applies a self-buff that greatly empowers all of your blue skills until your piety meter runs out. It increases the size of your blue skills by 30%, the damage of them by 40%, and the size of your balls by 65%. Think of Sacred Executioner like steroids, but without any of the side effects. Keep in mind, however, that Sacred Executioner does not in any way affect any of your yellow skills. Holy Aura is the counterpart to Sacred Executioner. Upon activating, Holy Aura spawns a massive AoE that buffs the damage of you and your allies inside of it by 10%. Doing group content, I would highly recommend always using Holy Aura unless you are the type of person that loves to be bullied relentlessly, just like me. To summarize, as a Paladin, your job is to keep your party alive, apply buffs to your party, debuffs to the enemy, all at the same time while doing fat, unsolicited damage. Do that, and you'll be the most sought-after player in all of Lost Ark. That is a Dubledice guarantee. Before we get into the rest of this video, here is a quick ad from our sponsors. Have you ever felt so lonely or bored that the only way to trigger the dopamine receptors in your brain in order to make you feel anything other than the existential dread of depression was to go to OnlyFans.com? Well, I can't fix that. But what I can do is offer you a fantastic deal. Go to www.twitch.tv/Dubledice for the highest quality Lost Ark streaming content your Zoomer Doomer Boomer ADHD brain has ever bared witness to. Hit that follow button and begin your journey in my motherfucking butthole, homie. This is a limited time offer, so don't miss it. Please also give this video a fat old thumbs up for that sweet, sweet YouTube algorithm. Now, back to the video. Paladin has a very interesting playstyle in the fact that he is both melee and ranged at the same time. Now, unfortunately for him, he got both of his kneecaps blown off during World War II, so he just is not as mobile as the other classes his age. As for what builds to use, in my opinion, the way you play this class, mechanically speaking, and what skills you use should depend on the content you are doing, and if you are playing solo or with a group. While doing solo content, your playstyle is more adjacent to DPS classes. What this means is that you want to be doing damage while also trying to dodge telegraphed enemy attacks. You would most likely use a setup that looks similar to mine. You can, however, change the order or what skills you use to your liking. The first ability we'll be going over is Charge. It's one of the first abilities you gain access to in the game. Its damage is on the weaker side, but what it lacks in damage, it makes up for in mobility. This skill is really only used for its mobility, but can be used as an extra source of damage if need be, since its cooldown is on the relatively low end. At level 4, take excellent mobility as it increases its move distance by 2 meters. Next is Flash Thrust. It does a flurry of attacks in a chosen direction. At the end, it deals a final strike that deals extra damage. At 4, choose Quick Preparation as it reduces the cooldown of the ability. At 7, take Chain Attack as it increases the number of strikes to 6 from 4. Lastly, at level 10, take Flash Enhancement as it increases the overall damage of the ability by 30%. Additionally, it increases the damage of the ability by 30% every time it deals damage, up to a maximum of 150%. However, the final strike is removed. Wrath of God is the last ability you will unlock while early leveling. Take Wide Thunderstroke at level 4 for the increased AoE. Faith at level 7 for the increase to the piety meter generation. And lastly, Light's Guardian at 10 as it increases the damage by a significant amount, as well as it makes the ability look fucking amazing. Executor's Sword is a great ability as it doesn't require you to get close enough to give the enemy a prostate exam. Level it to 4 and take Stigmata. This causes an explosion from the ground where the ability impacted. Execution of Justice is one of the abilities I find very satisfying to use. Take Rune Prison at 4 to pull enemies in while doing damage, Strength Release for the increased damage, and Express Fury for the big dick increased damage. When using Sacred Executioner, your class mechanic, casting Executioner's Justice with all 3 tripod effects makes you feel like Thor in that one scene of Infinity War when he comes in and he's all like, "Yo bitch, I'm Thor, where the guys at?" And then he jumps up with his axe and then fucking slams it down. It's like, just a really amazing ability. I use Divine Explosion because if you look up the definition of orgasmic, all you will find is a picture of this ability. You can detonate this hydrogen bomb every 30 seconds. Like, this ability just fucks. Like, there's not much else to really say about it. Take Swift Fingers at 4, Explosion Enhancement at 7, and Prepared Explosion at 10. Another skill that I find insanely satisfying to use is Holy Sword. It has a little bit of a higher skill ceiling compared to the rest of the Paladin abilities because it's not super easy to land. Its range is very, very short, and it is incentivized that you hit this ability for it to deal its secondary effect, which casts a longer sword in the direction, and it deals even fatter damage. Like, just look at this ability, bro. Motherfucking bing, bong. Take Stigmata at level 4, Weak Point Detection at level 7, and Condensed Energy at level 10. Last, but most certainly not least, is Heavenly Blessing. This skill is very visually appealing, and it also deals an absurd amount of damage. Faith helps you build your piety meter faster with this ability. Valor gives you and all nearby allies 15% of your base attack power, up to a maximum of 6% increased attack power. And lastly, Heavenly Requiem, as it increases the radius and the damage of the ability. When you have acquired 268 maximum skill points, set Flash Thrust to level 4 from 7. When doing group content, you will want to play more supportive, meaning you will have to pay attention to your allies' health bar, apply buffs to allies and debuffs to enemies more strategically, and be reactive to incoming damage. If you've ever played a healer type class in any of the other MMOs, then this is where you will shine. The build also changes quite a bit here. We still use Charge with excellent mobility at level 4. However, now we level it to 7 and take Shining Protection, as it puts on a protective condom that shields you from incoming STDs for 15% of your max health. Flash Thrust has one change: Quick Preparation at 4 and Chain Attack at 7. However, we do not level it past 7. Execution of Justice has one change as well: take Bulwark instead of Rune Prison at 4. The last two tripods are unchanged. Strength Release at 7 and Express Fury at 10. Wrath of God uses Wide Thunderstroke and Faith. However, instead of Light's Guardian, take Express Fury as it is a party buff. Heavenly Blessing still uses Faith at 4. However, at 7, we now use Weightlessness instead of Valor. This is because Wrath of God's Express Fury grants the same buff and therefore cannot stack. Weightlessness is also a party buff that increases all nearby allies' attack speed. At 10, take Absolute Blessing. This increases the mana regeneration for all nearby allies. Holy Sword is unchanged. Stigmata at 4, Weak Point at 7, and Condensed Energy at 10. Replace Executor Sword with Light Shock. This is a ranged ability that fires a beam of light in the cursor's direction. At 4, take Swift Fingers to increase its attack speed, and Light's Vistage at 7 as it applies a debuff to enemies hit, causing them to take increased damage. Replace Divine Explosion with Holy Protection. This ability casts a shield on you and nearby allies for 20% of your max health. Take Quick Pace at 4 as it increases the movement speed of those affected. Maintained Effect at 7 to increase its duration, and Vow of Light at 10. I cannot stress this enough. Vow of Light hands down makes this ability one of the most vital skills in all group content. After the shield effect deactivates, those affected recover 8% of your maximum health. It's one of the only ways to heal people in all of Lost Ark. With only 268 maximum skill points at your disposal, set Charge and Flash Thrust to only level 4. For your Awakening, both builds use the same Awakening ability, Alathane's Judgment. This ability awakens Tyrael from Diablo. He fills your body with his divine juices, consensually, allowing you to then crash down with the power of 1,000 unbaptized youthlings. Upon landing, you deal 1 quadrillion damage and shield yourself and all allies for 54 billion health. Yes, these numbers are real and I definitely did not make them up for comedic effect. Note that allies can only be shielded if they are within the impact radius. For stats, Paladin wants Specialization and Swiftness with at least 1,135 points into Specialization. As for Engravings, you will want to take Blessed Aura, as it makes Holy Aura significantly stronger, allowing it to heal allies and yourself inside of the AoE during its effect. Awakening is the second engraving you will want to pick up. It significantly reduces the cooldown of your Awakening ability, your ultimate, as well as increases the uses during instanced content. And that's pretty much all there is to it. If you're a big fan of slapping enemies around with a big meaty sword while simultaneously ejecting PP magic from your fingertips, then this class is 100% for you. Personally speaking, and all jokes aside, I'm having a rough time deciding on if I want to play this class or Demonic as my main. They're both just so much fun. But I hope you guys found this guide helpful. If you did, make sure to like the video and subscribe if you want to see videos similar to this one. Alright, peace.